Welcome to Everything Money, a show where an average guy like myself asks a couple wealthy fellas how to invest. If you have felt alone out there, I've talked about this on many of our shows, Paul. I went almost a decade, basically clueless. I was investing money. My friends told me what to just invest in things I really like. I got into some things I like. Amazon, Tesla, Netflix, did well on them, got lucky. But if you feel out there like you're kind of alone, maybe you have some money in a 401k and you don't know what to do with it, or maybe you have a Roth IRA and you just seem a little hesitant, or you're scared.
Or lost.
We wanted to make a video about choosing a style, a process that's simple to understand, that you can grasp. Paul and Mo are going to talk about how they've developed a value investing process,
and other processes.
And the greatest investors in the world, if value investing seems strange, they just think it's called investing. So we're here to deliver maybe a little, not so much dumbed down version, but a simplistic version on what your thought process might turn into if you want to follow us on our journey of investing. Go ahead, Paul, tell them your thoughts on this idea about generating a style and a process and sticking to it.
So when I was younger, probably until even 10 years ago, I believed that there were just people out there who knew better than me. Is that true? Of course there are. But nobody knows better for me than me. And what I found myself doing was, I looked back at my history. I looked back at high school years, and I remember the questions I was asking people about investments in stocks. I didn't realize it back then I was a value investor, because instead of just saying, accept this, I would ask why. Now, I bought hype stocks because everybody told me to, because I thought those people were smarter than me. My sister's boyfriend's dad said, buy this stock. Why? I'm like, well, he's older. He must be smarter than me. He knows.
Yes.
He's in tech. He knows. Then I started to realize, well, wait a second. As time went on, you get burned. You sit there and say, I got to figure out what works for me. When I first started reading about value investing, it clicked immediately. Does that mean it has to click immediately with you? Not necessarily. But what it does mean is that you have to find a process that does click with you. I've tried chart reading like Mo does, and he'll talk about how he got into that. Didn't click with me. I read The Complete TurtleTrader about momentum trading, clicked with me immediately. I read that book so fast, I've read it a couple times. I love it because it clicked with me immediately. So value investing and momentum trading have clicked with me. Real estate, it clicked with me. The process with which I do real estate clicks with me. Starting businesses clicked with me. I do that. Now, does that mean it's the right thing for you? Absolutely not. Everybody wants to emulate. And I to a certain extent, I can understand that, but what your job is to figure out what clicks with you. When you hear it, you want to read more about it, and you want to sit there, and it makes you feel good inside.
Unfortunately, Paul, I think what people are doing is, if they're definitely turning to YouTube and finding this video, you might be finding a bunch of experts getting very, very excited about companies that are in the news today and doing really, really great things. And they're just telling you to buy no matter what, Paul. So how do we approach, I don't know if people know, you say a bunch of things that clicked with you. I don't know if our viewers are ever being exposed to things that can,
Well, that's the great thing about YouTube. You can be exposed to so many things. Like, Mo, talk about your day trading. Talk about your chart reading and when you first found it, how it clicked with you.
So I first started, I was 14 years old and I was in the computer lab at school, and somebody said, we're going to trade stocks on the internet.
Come on.
And I was like, I don't really know what this means, but we're going to try it. And I realized that you can sit there and make money doing it. Now I understood that I saw my friends just taking this fake money and throwing it into random things. And I was like, there's no way that just works.
This might be like AMC,
exactly,
or with some other of these crazy Reddit stocks.
Exactly. I just knew that you can't just buy everything and it works out. That's not how life works. So I started to figure out, like, what exactly do I need to do to improve and kind of create a system? Then a few years later, I was driving down the highway. I heard a radio show. Guy was talking about chart reading. That kind of clicked with me. He kind of had a process, so I developed this process that's my own. And I knew that if I followed a certain process over and over and over, I would benefit from it, because they work. And I kind of liked it, and I also kind of liked value investing because it's not exactly black box. Yes, momentum trading does speak to me very well. But I also like that you can kind of bring in, there is some subjectivity to it in chart reading like I do, and value investing. It kind of keeps you active, keeps you going with things, and that is the thing that kind of works for me, because I do want to be involved. I can be a little bit more active, but I don't have to go and just buy random stuff that random people say. There is a method behind the madness, and that's what you need to find.
Paul, you relate this back to sports a lot. Mo, when you say a process, I consistently think about baseball and how they just the mechanics of their swing
how many thousands and thousands and thousands of times do they make that swing?
And it goes back, Mo, over 100 years. I mean, videos of Ted Williams look a lot like Aaron Judge today.
I mean,
they're doing the same things. And Paul, they're being selective with what they actually hit. They know where their best spots to hit are, and they're selective. So
but at the same time,
go on.
And I think it was in the book, The Psychology of Money. There are so many ways to be successful. Jordan was known as the "I'm going to kill you if you don't help me win." LeBron is known as the "let me bring the team together, let me be the motivator, and I take jabs, but I'm not the "I'm going to kill you if we don't win."
Fights and practices. And
Steve Jobs, Bill Gates were psychopaths, right? Warren Buffett is very much the I'm going to tell you everything about how wonderful you are. I'm not going to criticize you unless I have to fire you.
Mm-hmm.
The point behind that is they had different processes, completely different. And Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are good friends. Bill Gates was the guy who sat in a meeting and said, "That is the stupidest idea I've heard in my entire life." Warren Buffett would never say that. But they're both massively successful because they did what worked for them. They did what spoke to them, and that's how they became more successful. Mo was spoken to with charts. I tried charts before. It does not speak to me in the least bit. But momentum trading and value investing does. And even my value investing, I'm a lot less in depth than a lot of value investors. I like to pick higher level. If you have investing and you have, a 10,000 foot view and you have a 5 foot view. 10,000 foot view is most investors out there. All they care about is what companies do I like, I'm gonna buy it. The next ones say, okay, I'm not gonna overpay. That's maybe a 1,000 foot view. I'm at the 100 foot view. I'm sitting there saying, okay, I'm gonna find the companies I like, do a little bit of research on them, but mostly I'm gonna go based on the metrics, the numbers, as long as it makes sense. I wanna buy 30 or 40 of them. And there's other guys with a 5 foot view. I wanna own 8 or 9 companies, that's it. I'm gonna know them inside and out, intimately, etc. That does not work for me. That does not work for me, that does not work for me. This makes me feel warm and fuzzy at night.
Mm-hmm.
Options made sense to me. I literally think to myself right now, I don't know why every investor in the world does not do options. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what works for me. It makes so much sense to me that I sit there and go, how is everybody missing this? Right?
And Seth, your correlation of the baseball, I mean, you think of all different hitters, from Ted Williams to Mike Trout and everyone in between. They all have incredibly different swings, but it gets them to a very similar place. And that's really what he's talking about.
So Paul, for our normal viewers at home that might be struggling with this concept of investing, scared, say they're at the 10,000 view, how do we hone them in and get them down and making better decisions? Initial steps.
Start watching videos on the internet. Don't just watch ours. Watch all the people we think are stupid. If it speaks to you to be stupid, be stupid. I'm all in favor of that. But process will always work in the long run. Short run, there are ups and downs all the time. If you're chasing the short run, it's just gonna be hard for you to get below that 10,000 foot view. That's just a reality, right? It's just hard to be a better investor because if you're chasing the short run, you're chasing what everybody else is doing. And the best way to mediocrity is to do what everybody else is doing because that's the average, that's the mediocrity. If you're willing to be different and okay looking wrong for short periods of time, relative short periods of time, obviously your career is gonna be 30 or 40 years of saving money and you're gonna live another 20 or 30 years after. We're talking about 50 to 70 years. And if you're gonna be wrong for 3 or 4 or 5 years at a time, is that really a big deal? No, if you're okay with that, find the process that works. The thing I like about most process and momentum trading is they make money in good and bad markets. That's what I like about those processes. Mm-hmm. That's why I like momentum trading.
We did a video a couple months ago. It was entitled "How I Lost Out on $1 Million." And had I never met Paul, I would still own a massive amount of shares of Tesla, Amazon, and 3 Bitcoins. And it would have amassed about $1 million. I don't have that much now. I sold most of these on the show. I sold off all of my positions in that. But what I have developed, and you can too, is a disciplined, more well-versed style of investing that I can feel comfortable with. My wife feels better about. We sleep easy at night, knowing that for the next 60 years of my life, I can follow the concepts of great value investors, Paul and Mo, and I'm ready to make more informed decisions moving forward. And it's a great feeling to have. You can join us. Join the Everything Money community, over 6,100 members talking just like us. Paul, we started the show and I wanted to please everybody in the world. I'm a people pleaser. I'm a wedding photographer, so I go to these happy events. I want to please a bunch of people. And you have shown me that this might not resonate with you. But if you're out there watching this and you've made it this far in the video and this starts to make sense, Feel free to join us at everythingmoney.com. Sign up. You can join our community. You can get access to Mo on a daily basis. You can get exclusive access to us, and you can hear more of Paul's thoughts. That's our take, Paul. What do you think?
I think it's wonderful. And biggest thing is, don't fight what feels right to you, what makes sense to you that you gravitate towards. If you don't fight it, you will do well.
That's our take. Final thumbs up. Check out more videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.